Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning, August 24th, on our Coffee with Colleen chat with the Clallam EDC. We are really excited to have an important organization on with us this morning, led by Jan Simon. And there are several of the folks that she and their First Federal Community Foundation's organization have funded, and they'll talk a little bit about that. Just a bit of quick housekeeping. If you will put yourself on mute, just so we don't inadvertently pick up any background noise, we really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, put your hand up and we'll go ahead and call on you. We like to try to make this as interactive as possible. So with that, I am going to ask Dawnya Scarano to do an introduction for us. She is on the advisory board of the First Federal Community Foundation and a good friend of mine. Dawnya.
Yeah, good morning, Colleen. Thank you for having us today, and good morning, everyone on the call. I'm Dawnya Scarano. I'm the chair of the First Fed Foundation Advisory Committee. I'm also the senior director of the customer experience at First Federal. I've been with a bank for 38 plus years now, which has been a long journey. And one of the most meaningful parts of who we are as a bank is that we truly care for the well-being of our communities. This has been a part of who we are for almost 100 years now, which is crazy to think about how fast how fast time goes by. But in 2015, we made an even bigger commitment when we went public, and part of our fundraising of our capital, our board decided that we wanted to start a foundation. And with that, we funded $12 million into the First Fed Foundation, which is a huge commitment to continue on that path and that journey of serving our communities. Today, we'd like to share more about the foundation with you and hear from some of the organizations that have been received the grants from the foundation recently. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jan Simon, our executive director of the First Fed Foundation.
Hello, thank you. I'm going to hopefully share my screen with you. Give me just 1 second here. Oh, good gravy. Please forgive me here. Aha, is that working?
Not yet.
Okay. Shucks. Becky, are you in a position, not Becky. Laurel, are you in a position to help on that front?
If not, I can on this end. I can pull it up.
Okay. Oh, and you've got it?
Yeah, Laurel sent it quite some time ago.
Terrific. Wonderful. Thank you. That would be great.
I will find that, and I'm sorry I didn't already have it pulled up.
Okay, and now I can't see any of you, so I'm sorry. I apologize about this. I'm going to go. Well, Colleen, if you'll let me know when you've got the first slide up, that would be great.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, you know what, Colleen, you're potentially the first slide you have on there is going to be a quote from Matt, which was my slide, so you can move through that. But one of the things I didn't mention when I was talking about the foundation too, and also about First Fed, is that we have awarded our employees volunteer hours. I mean, this is a big thing of who we are as a company. And we even started a club within the bank called our Club 100, where we recognize those employees that are volunteering more than 100 hours per year. And we have many people in our Club 100. And as of 2021, we have contributed 4,457 volunteer hours at the bank, which that's a huge impact in our communities.
I'm going to go ahead and start so I don't waste any of your time. And then Colleen, you can just let me know when you've got those up. But
I don't have the PowerPoint. I was just putting in the chat that all I have is a Word document. So Laurel, if you happen to have it, you got it? Okay, you should be able, you're on mute, but you should be able.
Let me share screen.
Great.
Okay, I'm going to start with the first slide with Matt.
Yeah, and just let's skip that one and go on ahead.
Okay, let's
Okay.
see here.
And folks, I apologize about this, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in because your time's really valuable. I want to let you know that it's just a pleasure to be with you this morning to share about First Fed Foundation and introduce you to 3 of our recent grantees who will highlight the critical and difference-making work they're doing in our communities. As Dawnya shared, First Fed Foundation is a private charitable corporation. It was established with a generous gift of $12 million from the parent company of First Fed when the bank became a publicly traded company. It was created to ensure that First Fed's legacy of community support would continue. First Fed is our sole donor. We do not accept or solicit funding from any other sources, so I'm not going to be asking you for contributions, but our grantees may. We began making grants in 2015, and to date, we've awarded nearly $5.8 million to nonprofits in our communities that are providing housing, help, and hope. And you'll get to hear from 3 of them this morning. We're committed to improving the quality of life in Clallam, Jefferson, Kitsap, and Whatcom counties, those communities where our sole donor, First Fed, operates full-service branches. We support projects and programs that provide broad impact and that benefit low to moderate income, disadvantaged, and/or marginalized individuals and families. We contribute to qualified nonprofit, tribal, and government organizations that provide a range of community support, that address homelessness and the availability of affordable workforce housing, and stimulate both economic and community development. In just the last year, our grants have provided emergency financial assistance via several nonprofits that has meant the difference between students staying in or dropping out of school, families having food on the table, keeping a car running so as not to lose a job, and finding or keeping housing. We've supported Habitat for Humanity's permanently affordable housing projects in Clallam and in Jefferson counties, helped transform a former motel into housing for individuals and families with behavioral health needs, and funded programs that provide buyer education and down payment assistance for people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. We've provided funding for Port Angeles Food Bank's renovation, helped the Olympic Peninsula Y purchase a refrigerated van to deliver tens of thousands of meals annually to kids during school holidays and vacations, and replaced out-of-date life-saving defibrillators in a medical center. You can see all of the grants that we've made to date at our website, firstfedfoundation.org. Now I'm proud to introduce 3 of our recent Clallam County grantees who will share about the project that First Fed Foundation is a proud supporter of. They will let you know the difference those projects will make in our community and share with you how you too can support them. You'll hear from Dr. Michael Maxwell with the North Olympic Healthcare Network, Colleen Robinson with Habitat for Humanity of Clallam County, and Rick Dickinson with the Center for Inclusive Entrepreneurship. Please welcome Dr. Maxwell.
Thank you very much, Jan. I'm going to see if I have any more success with my screen sharing. See if this will work. And are you seeing a presentation?
Yes, you might want to go to display settings and click on the other options so we get the full. There we go. Perfect.
Beautiful. It only took what, 3 years of this to to get close. All right. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jan, for the invitation to this morning to talk about our project. And I've actually had the pleasure of talking to this esteemed group of early risers earlier this year about the organization. And so some may have some familiarity with us already, but for those who might not, I'm just going to give a little bit of context about what we're hoping to accomplish, and some brief background about who we are and how we came to be, so that project makes some sense. As usual, a good place to start is our mission, which is to provide patient-centered, quality-driven, whole-person health care services that are accessible to everyone in our community. By way of background, we are a 501c3 not-for-profit federally qualified community health center. And we were established in 2016 after transitioning our 40-year private primary care group into a community health center model. That process involved successfully competing for a competitive HRSA, that's Health Resources and Service Administration, New Access Point grant that becomes available periodically to help serve or bring healthcare services to underserved communities. It was a very competitive process. There were 2,000 applicants for 164 grants, and we were one of those 164. And so we felt pretty fortunate to be successful in getting that grant to help this transition to this new model. And we became North Olympic Healthcare Network at that point. And the reason we did this is we felt fairly confident that this new model, the CHC model, would help us better address bringing comprehensive healthcare, primary healthcare services to the community. For those of you who were around in the bad old days of 2014, 2015, you might recall that at that point, if you did not have a physician, you weren't going to get one, regardless of your insurance. There just were not enough primary care providers in the community. And so we really were hopeful that this new model would be more successful in helping bring in new providers and expanding access to care. So what exactly is a community health center? You might hear the word or the term FQHC, Federally Qualified Health Center, or Community Health Center. They are synonymous terms. They mean the same thing. FQHC refers more to a reimbursement model. But in a nutshell, CHCs are nonprofit, community-based, and patient-directed organizations that serve populations with limited access to healthcare. That's us in a nutshell, and that's HRSA's definition. The legislation that brought the health center program into existence was signed in 1964 by President Johnson as part of the Civil Rights Act, and was there to address the underserved medical needs in rural and urban communities at that time. Went from 2 health centers to now 14,000 health centers across the country in all 50 states. North Olympic Healthcare Network is one of 27 in Washington State, and we're the newest one in the state. Collectively, health centers serve about 31 million people. 8 million of those are kids, and a little over 250,000 of those are veterans. About the last statistic I saw was about 1 in 10 people in the U.S. get their care at a health center. Just some basics on the health center program. So as I mentioned, health centers serve high need areas, medically underserved areas. And Port Angeles and Clallam County was certainly one of those when we made the application. Health centers are all patient directed. They are actually governed by a board of patients or consumers of healthcare services to make sure part of the philosophy of the health center model is that the care is responsive to the needs of the patients. They want the patients actually directing that care. The care must be comprehensive. So we provide the full range of healthcare services in one integrated model: primary care, dental services, behavioral health, pediatrics, OB, nurse care management services, enabling services, including some social support services. So all in one place. Nobody's turned away. So we see everybody, regardless of their insurance status or ability to pay, based upon household size and income. The charges are reduced all the way down to zero on a sliding fee scale. So everybody is seen. Anyone who walks in the door can and will be seen, regardless of insurance. We are by nature collaborative. Unlike a private practice sort of focused inward, the health centers are directed outwards at collaborating with those others in the community to help identify what the needs are and try and work to address those needs. And then another big part of the health centers that we have a lot of, as you can imagine, with some federal funding, we have a lot of accountability regarding our cost, utilization, staffing, quality outcomes. There's a lot of accountability baked in, which gives me lots of gray hair. But the impact of that change really, it was very gratifying. I mean, we set out, we accomplished to achieve the primary goal we set out to achieve, and that was to bring more primary care providers to the community. And we recruited 11 new physicians, 6 nurse practitioners or PAs to the community. And with that additional workforce, have been able to see 11,000 new patients since 2016. These are people who previously were knocking on doors and not being able to get care. But we've been able to get them a medical home. We're now up to over 16,000 active patients. About a third of those are Medicaid, a little more than that is Medicare, and the rest are commercial or uninsured. Those uninsured patients, as I said, have their or safety net providers, so those fees are reduced all the way down to zero if necessary. We're all about trying to improve access for everyone. We've been able to integrate behavioral health into primary care clinics, providing more support and treatment for depression and anxiety, and there's been a lot of that lately in the past 2 or 3 years for some reason. We have been able to establish a new dental clinic, which was the first new dental access for adults with Medicaid in nearly a decade. Before that, they were all going to the ER with advanced tooth decay, and we've been able to literally see thousands of patients a year to get them appropriate health care and keep them out of the ER with end-stage oral disease. We've established, in collaboration with Swedish and OMC, a family medicine residency to train new physicians to help the pipeline in the future. OMC has been a great partner and collaborator in this effort, and we've seen success in retaining physicians in the community. We have a collaboration with a school district, bringing mobile health services to all the schools at all grade levels, primary care, behavioral health, and dental screenings. And we have a collaboration with the fire department around community paramedicine. So try to help the most vulnerable and high utilizing, ER utilizing patients, trying to get them care before they have to end up in the ER. And it's been a really successful program. But there's still more needs, and that's what this project that we're working on now is all about. Community needs assessments have shown there's still substantial primary care demand. There's still more patients seeking care than there are providers to provide that care. Our wait list is growing. There's been more community retirements. Some solo docs have retired and are more on their horizon. So wait lists are expected to grow even more. There's still, when we were doing the vaccine clinics with the health department, asked people where they get their care, and it's surprising how many people still have not yet established care or have just moved to the area and are looking for a physician. There's still quite a bit of unmet need, and that's why we are doing this project to renovate the old Edna's place. And before people ask, we did not retain the pizza oven or the bar. I tried, but the architect could not work it in. So those are gone. But this will be a new, we're renovating that spot into a medical clinic that will provide additional primary care and behavioral health. It will allow us to expand our telehealth capacity And a new service for us is providing vision services, particularly for those with Medicaid. Vision care, eye care is very difficult for people with who are insured by Medicaid to obtain in town. So we'll be able to provide those services to that population with this new clinic. We're projecting to have to start out between 20 and 25 new living wage jobs in this clinic, and more to grow after that, but that's our initial projection. We'll put us over 160 employees at the health center. The project was about $5 million. It's about twice as much as it was projected when we started the project, but thanks to inflation and supply chain issues and all pandemic impacts on the workforce, it ballooned to $5 million. And it's been a challenge to finance it. We're doing it through some federal loans, some limited capital grants that we were able to obtain, and then dipping into the reserves for the remainder. So we were very grateful, looking for any additional funding sources to help support this work. We applied to the First Federal Community Foundation, and we were very grateful that they awarded us this $25,000 grant to help support this project. There's lots of places we could use those dollars, but we really are focusing on spending those dollars to help out the new vision services. We think it's going to be a great use for that. It's a lot of specialized equipment needed for that. And these dollars will be very helpful in helping us outfit the new vision services. So
Gary, you have a certain amount of.
So that's I just wanted to express our gratitude for the foundation's support. They help support our dental clinic. I didn't mention that earlier, so they've been a real great partner all along, helping to expand these services to the community. So very grateful, and I'll end up there. So thanks.
Thank you. Questions from anyone for Dr. Maxwell or me? Then Colleen Robinson, will you do the honors?
Thank you very much for having me here this morning. Colleen, can I share screen? Is everybody sharing screen? Or okay.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. And then go to view. Slideshow.
I think you want slideshow at the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. Oh, I went to view. You're right. From current slide. So I was very pleased to hear Jan mention workforce housing. And workforce housing is really about meeting the need housing of the missing middle. Everybody knows we need housing. Many of you employers here on this call that have been here week after week are struggling to fill positions at your businesses and your organizations because there just isn't housing here to bring people. So these businesses right now currently are the employers of our partner families, which is what we call them at Habitat, partner families. Who own Habitat homes, because we do not give the houses away. They pay an affordable mortgage that goes into the revolving fund of humanity so that we can do more housing. But the real truth of the matter is, if we don't have dirt, we can't build. And so our grant, Habitat for Humanity Clallam County grant to First Federal Community Foundation was all about, we need land. It's definitely a finite commodity out here on the Olympic Peninsula. It is expensive, and we needed to act quickly in order to purchase land so that we could build more workforce housing. So a piece became available, this Miller Road property that you'll see up here. And so we were able to purchase that last fall. And then more recently, this piece below. So the two pieces together excuse me, we have now 10 acres in city of Sequim limits to build affordable housing. Right now, we are negotiating, advocating, pleading with the city of Sequim for multifamily zoning. And we're getting there. We're inching along. The government has a process. And so on August 2nd, the Planning Commission met and they made a recommendation to the city council to accept the city staff's plan and outline for what kind of multifamily. Obviously, the city doesn't want a 10-story apartment building or condo building. That would not fit within the infrastructure of the city and what we do and what they want to see. So what would it look like? We're hoping on both pieces of property or between the two properties to do about 80 homes. And so infrastructure and development has to happen, which as Dr. Maxwell just shared, is costly and there's supply chain issues. But we are hoping very soon to break ground on this lower piece of property. First Federal Community Foundation gave us $100,000 towards the purchase price, which we were extremely grateful and pleased for. It was one of the biggest grants that they made. I think our application was pretty strong, and affordable workforce housing is desperately needed. And in order to do any of that, we have to have land, and they certainly understood that. This is a potential design of what the fourplex would look like. However, I've shown this slide a few times now, and all of the local contractors and builders said, you can't build that kind of roof in the Northwest, it'll leak. They're worried about the water going house to house. Habitat International is moving towards more green and sustainable building. State has some of the strictest sustainable and green building standards of all the states in the country. And so my thought with this particular design was certainly solar panels. We can't right now, the price point right now, we can't afford to do that and build our homes and keep them affordable. But if we could set the houses up in a way that if the families chose in the future that they wanted to, but I've been told that won't work. I just want to express the gratitude from Habitat for Humanity, Clallam County, from our board of directors, and more importantly, from those future families. These are families that work in your school district, that cut your hair, that are in the hospitality industry, CNAs that will be, work as the dental assistants. This will be housing that they can actually live in here because of First Federal Community Foundation having the vision and the belief in Habitat that we have the expertise, the ability to build housing, but we can't do any of that without the land. So thank you to Jan, thank you to Dawnya, and to First Federal Community Foundation. We are ever so grateful for your support, and very, very excited to have you out for a groundbreaking with lots of great looking shovels as we get started on this project. Hopefully of the year, we hope to be breaking ground for development and infrastructure. So did anybody have any questions?
Colleen, this is Tom Sutton. I would agree with your builders. The roof structure is not good. Okay. I've seen it happen back east. There you have cold, you have freezing, you have the expanding water. But here you don't have that. But rot is still a problem here. And when you've got, I don't know how they're going to do that, but how they're going to carry that water away from when it comes down and goes into another structure. I can tell you a house over on Grey Wolf right now that's similarly built like that, and they have leak problems and rot problems. What?
Yeah, I gotcha. I've heard loud and clear from all the builders. The downside is development's probably going to take 18 months to 2 years. So we have lots of time to pick the appropriate style of housing. These communities, both pieces of that property will have green space. They will have playgrounds for families because lot sizes will be pretty small, because we really want to use as much of the land as we can to build housing. So we'll have lovely green spaces. Swim Sunrise Rotary has already reached out about maybe a playground project that they could support. But we're a ways away from picking that house style, and clearly my house style was not appropriate. But really the champion and the hero in all of this is First Federal Community Foundation and their willingness to support us with the dirt, because it's not very glitzy, it's not exciting, it's not an immediate hey, look what we did. It's going to be a process, but Habitat Clallam is so incredibly grateful for their vision and their support and for that funding to purchase the land. So thank you.
I think it sounds like a great thing. It's just that roof is all my concern, and I'll be watching you see what you do with that. But you know, whatever you do, it's you live with. So, all right, that's just my comment. But thanks for your presentation. I think it's a great thing, and I think the structure looks good. You know, from the street, the picture you gave. But actually, I wouldn't mind having some. If you could send a copy of that to me, I'd like that. Because I'd like to report to the people that I answer to, so.
Sure. Tom, you can put your email in the chat and Colleen can send it off to you. So yeah, it's what Habitat for Humanity does in Clallam County is just amazing. Colleen, of course, is part of the Housing Solutions Committee. And when we talked about the cost to build fourplex, I thought it was very interesting that for a for-profit builder to build that, it's about $250, something similar, $250 a square foot. And then if a entity that receives any government funding that then kicks in all of the evergreen development standards required by the state, or and they have to pay a residential prevailing wage rate, but there's so many requirements with RFPs and a really arduous process. The rate goes up to $350 a square foot. But Habitat for Humanity, with their processes, they can build at $85 a square foot, so substantially less. So that was a big aha moment for me, I guess I'd say, that geez, if we want to stretch our dollars, Habitat for Humanity is a great resource to do that. So go ahead, take it away, Colleen. Tom, we'll
just have 1 second? I don't know how to put my email in the chat room.
Oh, okay. Well, I will.
Tom, I have your email. No worries.
Okay.
I also would like to get a copy of that community medical centers report. I don't know.
Okay, well, Tom, we can talk after the presentations. I just don't want the presenters to run out of time.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so Colleen, you're finished up then, and we can move to Rick.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rick Dickinson.
Jan, were you going to do a quick intro, or I just dive in?
Jump in, please.
All right, excellent. So my name is Rick Dickinson. I am the program manager at the Center for Inclusive Entrepreneurship. And I am, my real job here is I advise businesses. Our program is scrappy, it's pretty young, and we are very grateful for the help that we have had from First Fed Foundation and the ongoing support they're providing to us. So just a quick overview. Let's see, are you seeing my screen? All right. And there's the Center for Inclusive Entrepreneurship, we started 3 years ago here on the peninsula. In fact, Friday is my 3-year anniversary. I just realized this moment. And it started with Mike Skinner, our executive director, who's on the call, and I wandering around Clallam County with a fistful of flyers trying to get people to come to our first Start Simple class. And we have now served more than 400 entrepreneurs. We have now even grown off the peninsula. We now have an office in the Skagit in Mount Vernon, covering the North Cascades area, as well as we have a pilot going in the Palouse. And our it's a tight collaboration between the Washington Small Business Development Center. Its goal is to expand the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Clallam and Jefferson counties, and now further. And what we provide is really inclusive and accessible. Take that very first baby step, business training and support for low income and underrepresented emerging entrepreneurs, with a specific focus on early stage or even pre-venture micro enterprises. We are the grassroots of the grassroots. And so really what we're about is providing that basic on-ramp to get people, to get early stage entrepreneurs ready and thriving, so where they can go and be a better candidate to work with the small business development centers and our other economic development resources. So what's our vision? What are we about? We are we have this vision that rural places, which we know, we live here, have been they just don't have as many opportunities. As I heard Colleen say again recently, our greatest export is our youth. And so we want to switch that. We want to reverse that. We want them coming back here because of all the opportunities. And we believe that self-employment and starting your own business is an amazing way, not only to provide yourself economic opportunity, but to create a thriving local economy. And so that's what drives us. How do we do that? And that mission, lots of people actually could and do share that mission. So how do we act on that? It's what I was talking about. It's this very this basically hand-holding. So we provide where we provide training. We provide our Start Simple class every month that helps people get in, kick the tires on their business idea, say, is this business idea going to work? And then we offer a Start Lean training, which is more about how do you really get a business going with the least amount of risk and putting the least amount of capital at risk. But what we really provide is one-on-one business advising, an ongoing relationship where we will meet with people over a long period of time as they figure out what's my brand, how do I market this, what's my operations, what are my finances, all of those pieces that go in. And most of the people we work with have never run a business before, have not really got a lot of business acumen, but they have a dream, they have a vision, and all they need is someone to give them that guidance and move them along the path. So that's what we do. And our focus is, like I said, it's on rural economies, micro businesses, early stage, and financial self-sufficiency is critical. We want to make sure that whatever business one of our clients is starting, it will generate financial self-sufficiency for them. If they are currently struggling financially, we don't want them to start a business that will help them continue to do that. We want to make sure that the business they are creating will get them over that hump of financial struggle, so that they are solid and can then contribute back out into the community. And we do focus on sustainability. Our our organization has a very triple bottom line focus. Triple bottom line meaning, yes, the financial bottom line, but also what is my environmental impact as a business? What is my social impact as a business? And we encourage our clients to look at all three of those, and we give them the tools to do that. And then finally, we think systemically, which is why we do what we do. We feel like the ripple effect of creating more small businesses in the community is one of the most powerful ways to influence an economy in a community. And so that's why we do this. So inclusive is our middle name. What do we mean by that? We mean a lot of things. I think we mean what folks would immediately think of, especially in light of the George Floyd murder and a lot of the Black Lives Matter activity that has happened during COVID. We absolutely focus on Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and especially reaching out to tribal communities on the peninsula is a high priority for us. I am really excited that we have a tight relationship with the Elhua Tribal Vocational Rehabilitation Program. Mostly they train people for the workforce, but when there are folks that come into their program looking for self-employment, wanting to start a business, they send them our way, and we have helped a number of them get their business plan together and get their business launched, and they're out there doing it. And so that's one of my favorite stories and favorite groups to work with. But inclusive, there have been a lot of folks that have had greater challenges in getting in and starting businesses. And so this list, you can see, names a whole bunch of them. Obviously, LGBTQ plus community. In particular, I think the trans community is challenged right now. People who've been justice involved. Those are other folks that we really love to work with, because quite often it's hard for them to get a job. It may in fact be easier for them to create a job. And so we've worked with a number of folks who've been justice involved in getting their businesses started. I show immigrants there. That on the peninsula, that primarily shows up out in the Forks area, where we've begun working with some of the Spanish-speaking population out there, and even some of the Hmong population, folks who have come in from Honduras, Guatemala, and a lot of them are forced workers, and we've been helping some of them get businesses started. Disabled as well. That's another area where it can be very challenging to work a 9-to-5 job, depending on the nature of your disability. And if you can create your own self-employment around your disability, you can actually be more successful. So that's just a smattering of who we focus on. We also are the only certified self-employment assistance program provider on the peninsula. So we do work with folks who are having struggles with employment. And we get lots of referrals from WorkSource in Sequim, and they are a close partner of ours as well. So that gives you a sense of who we're talking about. Our tent is big. we pretty much anybody can come in and take our Start Simple class, and then if they are a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them, then and the business looks like it's a good idea, then we will say, hey, we can help you move forward. There are some folks who come to us and we have to say, you're not really a good fit for us. Either your business is bigger than what we are, our sweet spot, or you're not really somebody in this area of need. And so we will find a better fit for them. But by and large, our tent is very large. Just a quick, I pulled this slide from a presentation we gave to Clallam County Board of Commissioners, just kind of talking about where we're at, what we're doing, and basically we're doing a lot. That's what I'll say. We had exceeded our 2022 goals in Q1, and we we pump a lot of folks through our training, and we get a lot of counseling hours, a lot of time spent with clients. And if I'd have updated this, I think we've probably doubled the number of new businesses since Q1. And so that's just a sense of what we do. But what I want to talk about now is really what this First Fed grant is helping us to do. And this, we named this yesterday. So you on this call are the very first people to hear about Groundswell. We're going to be able to run 3 cohorts of Groundswell, and we haven't finalized sort of the target groups yet, but this is the first one. And it is small business training, really focusing in tightly on the needs and issues of BIPOC and LGBTQ2IA+ entrepreneurs. What are their needs? What are the supports that they need? And so these are sort of like our Start Simple on steroids. We still do that Start Simple content where we guide people through, take a look at how are your personal finances? So what can you contribute to this business? What does the business need to contribute to your household? Let's dig into who is your market. Is there really a market opportunity here? We take them through a process to really understand their market. And then finally, we dig into the numbers. What are your sales units? What's your pricing? What is your sales forecast? What is, based on the market, based on what your capacity, what does this really look like? And then based on that sales forecast and your costs, what's your cash flow going to look like? And will you break even? And when will you break even? So we are very excited about this. As you can see, it starts September 20th, and it will run for 4 weeks, 8 sessions. We'll have 4 sessions, which are the curriculum of our course. But then what we're going to have in addition is we're going to have entrepreneurs that have already started a thriving business on the peninsula or are in process that can kind of come and provide that inspiration, that guidance, that reality check for these folks. We are also going to be having our local business resources. Colleen will be calling you to come in and talk about what are all the wraparound business resources that are available. And it's really a chance for our local economic development folks to just give their pitch to everybody. So that's a big part of what we do. In fact, we could not do what we do without all of our amazing partners within both the economic development world and in other areas as well. We're kind of that weird economic development group that dips into social services world as well as economic development. If you have a Venn diagram, we're kind of in the middle. We're it. And we've had lots of conversations with Colleen Robinson, and there's really almost nobody that can't be a partner with us in the work that we do. And we're also going to be having a mentoring program, and this is something that I really want to mention in this group, because I know there are a bunch of powerhouse folks in this group. If any of you are interested in being a part of our mentoring program, or in particular, in our October 13 session, we will be having a speed mentoring session where the folks who are going through the program are going to be putting together quick pitches about their business. So they really crystallize it. And we would love to have folks in the room to provide them feedback, and they can move to the next one and do it again and get more feedback. We find that is an amazingly powerful tool for folks. So this is Groundswell. We have done this type of program in other communities, and we've done this program in this community before we were established and had a presence on the ground, because years ago we ran the Coastworks business competition in cooperation with the Nature Conservancy. And we did a very similar program in those years. So we've done this before, but we haven't done it here. And so we're very excited to roll it out on the peninsula. And we are so grateful. So First Fed, thank you, Jan. When we started our initial pilot and we needed more funding, First Fed came in and said, we like what you're doing. We think it's great. Keep going. And now First Fed has come back to us and said, yes, we hear that you, and really what we're reaching certain parts of the community, but we're really wanting to make a particular focus in areas of need. And First Fed heard us and said, yes, go dive in there, and is helping us to do this. So that's us, that's what we're doing, and that's how First Fed's helping us. And yeah, if you have any questions for us, these are our folks on the peninsula. Actually, I am remiss. We also have a brand new community engagement coordinator, Michelle Pruden. Many of you may know her. She has just joined us as of a week ago. So yes.
Rick, I'd like a copy of the flyer that you showed to hang in the Habitat store in Sequim and in Port Angeles. Can you send that to me electronically?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Colleen.
If I could just take a moment, I really want to thank Colleen and Mike and Rick for their presentations, and also for their acknowledgement of First Fed and the foundation. And really what I want to say is we can't do what we do as a foundation without the great organizations that are doing such important work in our community. So you all are really the heroes. And Colleen, if we may take just a couple of minutes, I love that Rick said what he needed from this august group of people. And that's mentorships and support for these budding entrepreneurs. And Dr. Maxwell and Colleen, if you might take a minute. Colleen, I heard perhaps Tom being the chair of your design committee for your housing. But if you, and I'm going to speak for you for a second, if you're ever going in front of the city or county council and need testimony, you've got this great group who know that we can't grow businesses. Dr. Maxwell can't bring those 25 new doctors or new living wage jobs without housing. And but if there's anything else Mike or Rick or Colleen want to ask of this group, perhaps this is that opportunity to do so. Mike, if you still need contributions.
Yeah, it's a $5 million hole, but no, we're actually not, we don't have a foundation set up to really accept a lot of community. We don't have a structure established yet for accepting donations. We can do it if people would like to reach out to me. We have to figure that out. We're still kind of new at this. Mostly, I think just awareness of if you, over the course of your careers and days, run into people who say they're struggling with access to care, just let them know that there is a place for them to get care, and it's insurance and ability pay is not an issue. Where I guess that's the ask. I would love to someday we'll actually get a better structure for soliciting broader community donations, but we're not there yet. So thank you, First Federal, for Community Foundation for blazing the trail.
Hi, this is Colleen. I'll jump in. Colleen McAleer shared our price point on building. And one of the reasons we are able to keep that price so low is because we build with volunteers. I have a paid construction manager. We have a full-time AmeriCorps construction lead and a part-time. And everything else is sweat equity from the families and volunteers. So I put my email in the chat for those of you that can see it and get it. You can reach out to me, and then we are anticipating development for 80 homes at about, just for the infrastructure, the roads, the sidewalks, all that kind of thing, about 3.2 million. So contributions and donations are always appreciated, and we're a 501c3. So there's many ways to volunteer besides swinging a hammer, our habitat stores, committees, boards. So lots of ways to get involved in this exciting project. And thank you again for First Federal Community Foundation having the vision to see that the not sexy dirt was the beginning of affordable housing and workforce housing here.
Colleen, can you repeat how many acres is that site?
Together, both sites are about 10 acres.
Okay. Interesting. We 3.2 million, and I know that's a lot of detailed infrastructure. The Port of Port Angeles doing their Marine Trade Center infrastructure, just infrastructure, is 11.8 million. So that's with prevailing wages, that really, 3 times the price, right? And then we just had a presentation to build a 16,000 square foot metal pre-engineered building, would be 10.25 million. So again, that's when you touch a government dollar and all of the essentially King County wages that have to be applied to our county, just make it, I mean, we couldn't begin to raise that kind of money. So we're going back to the drawing board, but just, it may sound like a lot for infrastructure, but a lot goes in, and that's required for safety reasons and, full services. And yeah, not sexy, but absolutely essential. So I kind of think it's sexy. Being a person who is married to a guy that has a backhoe, so.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Colleen, for letting us join you today. It's really been a privilege, and we love what you and your team do in Clallam County to expand economic development. You're really an incredible partner for the community.
Oh, well, we
And
love
we
doing
do.
it. And I've got a great team and an exceptional board, and a bunch of those board members are on today that are, it takes a village, or it takes a lot of excellent community leaders. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And this will be recorded. If you want to share it, it'll be up on our website. Choose Clallam first, and then click on Coffee with Colleen, and it will be available later today. So with that, thank you and have a great day, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.